I forgot the dog. Oh, I'm so sorry, Judge. I forgot all about you. Come on, puppy. So I'm at the Apache Trail State Park in Vincennes, just outside of Vincennes, Indiana. This particular case on, it's a pretty forested area, but it's here on the Wabash River. So you get the typical undulating ground. You can see I'm just a little hilly kind of terrain. I need to check my level side to side first. So I need to lift up on the door side a couple bit. Alright, so I've raised up this side just a bit. Now look at my level. My level is pretty good. This side's a little higher, but it's also where I sleep this way, so my head's over here, so I'd rather have my head a little higher. So that gives me level side to side. Now let's chalk up the wheels before we disconnect. So my real concern with this setup, this terrain's pretty unlevel. So I'm kind of sloped this way, and then it slopes back as well. So if it rolls, I'm going to be going for a bit of a ride down the hill. Chalk this tire. So let's disconnect. Now disconnect, I'm just going to use a couple of these under here. Slope's pretty good here for a possible roll. I'm going to keep everything hooked up with the safety chains while I disconnect. Tends to pitch it a little bit when you're doing this. Still got the safety brake lanyard attached. If it doesn't roll, it gets out of control. You should pull the pin and lock up the brake so it can't roll very far. Okay, so I've cleared the hitch from the ball. Let's disconnect everything. Make sure you never leave stuff on your truck. Leave it up here in the front of the camper. In this particular case, put it back in the hitch. Just go lower to see level. There you go. Alright, so now I'm level side to side, front to back. Look how much different the ball hitch is than the receiver hitch because of the terrain. So I redid the way that was chalked up. I didn't like the way that chalk might move. So now it's a little flatter. This is a house on wheels, so it's constantly having an earthquake for about 2 hours worth of driving. Oh, look at that. My tension rod idea worked. Kind of kept stuff up underneath there, the dog food, water filter, although the lid came off. So the next step, put my stabilizing jacks down to stop some of that wobbling. I don't have quite enough leveling blocks to use them all around. Not that it matters. I'll use the leveling blocks back there because I got a long drop, so that's less cranking. So this one's got a long drop. I use more of these leveling blocks. Alright, so I got all 4 stapling jacks down. A little wobble still. So I gotta put the slide out. Let's go ahead and get the electric and water hooked up. Then put the slide out and then finish. Try to remove some more of this wobble. So electric. I'm not using 50 amps, I'm using the 30 amp, and this is 20 amps. So 30 amp, the breakers are on. So you don't want to mess with them when they're on. Go ahead and pop it off. Connect your, watch the lights. There you go. Green lights all around, good to go. Turn it back off. This is all plastic. So be careful you don't cross thread. You'll ruin the plastic. There you go. Now go shut the breaker. Green lights all around. Good to go. Go ahead and shut these off. It's stupid. Shouldn't have left it. Most parks want these left on because it does other things. Let's talk a little bit about water filtration systems. A lot of people either do nothing, which is probably fine for most cases. A lot of places you're on city water. This particular case we're on state park. I'm not sure what kind of water. We're just outside of Vincennes, so it's more than likely we're on Vincennes water. So the water's fine, right? The big problem though is if you're really worried about the water issue. For the longest time I used a zero water filter just for my drinking water. The bulk of your water usage is really a shower. Who cares, right? And if you're cooking, it's boiling, it's not going to be an issue there either. The other issue then is sediment buildup, right? You're going to get a little bit, it's going to clog some of your aerator in your sink. That's a bit of a problem sometimes. But your really concerned is going to be with Giardia or Cryptosporidium. They're 2 different diseases that tend to make people sick. It's not really a problem too much here in the US. Giardia maybe a bit more for like your pets. It's a protozoan, it crawls inside you. Remember, you got to think about bacteria, viruses, fungus, protozoans. So if we're really trying to avoid a protozoan kind of thing and not get traveler's diarrhea or whatever you want to call it, you have to get a filter to screen that out. Most RVers who use a water filter is going to be using the one from Camco. It's just like this, except it's a blue one. That blue one is at best 20 microns. It's loose charcoal inside the tube, so you can get tunneling through the charcoal since it's really loose, so you can get a straight stream of water and never filter it at all. The issue though with the blue ones is they're like 20 microns. Well, Giardia is around 10 microns, so it's half the size, so it'll go right through these blue ones, the Camco ones, because they're only 20 micron. This particular one from Clear 02, or correction, Clear 2.0, this is a 20 micron pre-filter, making water everywhere. The water comes in from here, it comes out the bottom. That's 20 micron. This one though goes all the way down to 1 micron. So not only will it block your Giardia at 10 microns, but it'll also block Cryptosporidium, which is around 5 microns. So this is all the way down to 1 micron, so those things aren't getting through. Most cases though, you're on city water, so it's not an issue to start with. If anything's going to catch like Giardia, it's probably your dog running around, gets in some moist spot where the spores are, or not spores, where the protozoans are, and they're the ones who are most likely to get it. And then because of your proximity to your dog, you'll then probably get it from your dog. It probably won't be from your water system. Alright, so that's one issue. The other one is some parks have water pressure problems, and in general what I experience is low water pressure. Now I go with a real simple manual one here. It just reduces the water pressure. You can go a step up and get one with an actual gauge, so you can adjust it to get the correct water pressure you want. But this seems to work pretty well for me. There is some corrosion products on the inlet side and a couple bit on the outlet side, but that would all get stopped by a filter. Even a 20 micron filter like this one or the blue Camco filter would block that stuff. The bulk of your corrosion products is probably going to be coming out of your hot water heater, which already passed the filter. It's not going to help regardless what kind of filter you're using. So let's go ahead and put this together. I'll use my pressure reducer first. And the reason why I bring up pressure reducers, maybe you got an older rig, and a lot of these newer rigs have that plex piping, so the pressure isn't going to be probably as much of an issue. But an older rig might have old plumbing, so maybe higher pressure is a concern. Most parks I go to, it's a low pressure problem, not a high pressure problem. So in those cases I tend to take my pressure reducer off, because this one goes down to 40 to 50 psi. So I'm going to use this little piece to connect to the spigot at the park. Go through my pressure reducer so I don't overpressurize, potential overpressurization problem. Like I said, it's usually an underpressurization problem. Now the other thing is, this is all plastic and this is brass. So you run the risk of damaging. So I'll go from the 20 micron filter, now we're going down to the 1 micron filter. There's an arrow to let you know which direction the water flows. But like I said, these things only go together one way. So then I'll go from here to my hose to a 90-degree bend into my RV. And that's our water system. This guy has some weight to it, especially once it gets full of water. So let's go ahead and put up our connector to the RV. So remember, this is a plastic fitting on your RV. I'm using a brass fitting, but it's a 90-degree bend. The issue is I want to minimize how much flexing this might have to deal with. If it's sticking out, then it could put a lot of strain on your plastic, whereas a 90-degree bend, less strain. And if you position your hose a little carefully, once I pressurize it, you'll see it jump. This way we can minimize the overall torque, that bending, flexing going on with the plastic fittings. I'm guessing this plastic fitting is really expensive because it's an RV, so why not make it really expensive? The other thing is, if this breaks, I'm guessing it's very difficult to fix and repair. I don't want to do that. Now I just reposition the pressurized hose, a lot of pressure on it. I want to put as little flexing on this point as possible because I don't want to break that plastic. If you want more information on filtration systems for RV, I would go to Phil and Stacy's YouTube channel, You, Me, and the RV. They just dropped their latest video this weekend and talked about filtration systems. I was in the process of editing my film when I saw their video, so shifting to the Clear 2.0 is in part because of them. I've been thinking about it for a while. The blue ones just didn't make a whole lot of sense to me logically. It's not going to prevent the thing I'm trying to prevent. But I use my zero water filter on my counter for my potable water anyway, so I wasn't that concerned. I went ahead and shifted over as a result of watching their video. It's a good video, so you have to go check it out if you want to see what these things are all about. Turn my propane back on. Get my mat out. You're constantly fighting dirt in your rig. No way around it. Oh. Always getting in your rig. Difference is your house, you have a concrete you're walking on and a lot of the dirt falls off your shoe before you step in the house. But in RVs, in this particular case I'm on rocks, the dirt is constantly piling in. A little broom will do you good. And I got this rubber mat, try to minimize how much dirt. Like last two steps, step on the mat, step on the step in, reduce how much dirt. And I take my shoes off so I come in, so all the dirt hopefully stays here on the mat with my shoes. But my dog, different story. Okay, so now we're still on battery. So let's go to shore power. Shore power goes on. I can hear my converter fan blowing down here. It changed once I shifted over this, but it's trying to repower my battery from what I've used it a little bit so far, even though I'm on shore power. All right, quick walk around, make sure I've got nothing here. Try to look underneath the slide underneath here, so when it goes back it doesn't catch anything. My dog's toys tend to get back there. Check out over here. Make sure there's nothing up on your slide, just in case something was up here. All right, let's put the slide out. The other thing, before I started doing this, I knew I had clearance. As the slide goes out, there's no tree, nothing over there, outside there, not to worry about. There you go. So I've gone around after the slide's gone out, did a little bit more on the stabilizing jacks to try and get some more of the wobble out. So I'm pretty level, but now we need practical level, right? The issue is I can't get completely level, you never can, I'd rather, since my head's at this end of the bed and I sleep across, I'd rather have my head higher than my feet. So that's more preferable. Then you're just practical stuff, so things that irritate you. So the microwave door is one of them. If it's not wobbling back and forth, that's pretty level. And then the other one you can check for practical level. Bathroom door, check for practical level, as well as the microwave. A little bit of a lean. Some little bit on the front still. I mean the back of the RV. I want it to be slightly tilted this way because the shower drains at that end. So if I could, I need to get it up to the front and bring it up just a little bit. Stop that. So I brought my stabilizer jacks back there up a bit to make some clearance. Lifted the front hitch a bit. That's pretty good. A little bit, not much. Could be just tilted this way a little bit. But hey, we're only here for a week. We're not going for perfect. We're going for good enough. We just need things to drain. That's really what we're after. Make things drain correctly. So this campground's water pressure is a little weak. I'd rather have more pressure. I'm going to take my pressure reducer off my water filter. Try to get better water pressure. No, the trees got better water pressure. Look at that, better water pressure. Much better. So I got the air conditioner on. It's kind of noisy. It's not just the air conditioner, it's the fan that's in the air conditioner. This particular model, all these R-Pods using, a lot of RVs use it. It's just the fan. So if I even turn the air conditioner off and just run the fan, it's still the same loud. Now some of the things you can do though is change your airflow, right? You can see this. Change your airflow a little bit. Change this one a bit. You got side ones over here. Over here as well. You gotta pull out, check these air filters every now and then. That one's not too bad. A couple of days I'll need to clean that one up. This one's a little dirtier. So yeah, in about 2 or 3 days, I'm running this air conditioner a lot this weekend. I'll need to clean it. So don't be this guy. He's got his front wheels completely off the ground on those 2 jacks. I'm not even sure if this jack's rated for that. Doesn't have chocks on his tires. Probably he's got the emergency brakes. If he does fall, he doesn't roll anywhere. If he does roll, he's gonna come forward, hit a tree, potentially hit me, my truck. Be pretty disastrous. Alright, so I got water and electricity for 7 days, $100. Now, there's no sewage here, so I have to find a dump place. But if I'm careful with my water usage when I take my shower, I shouldn't have an issue until it's time to leave 7 days from now. And I just go to the dump station, dump my tanks. I tried running scan on my TV. Looks like I'm only picking up 2 channels, but I'm missing my antenna somewhere in Arizona. So yeah, this is pretty good. Nice park. Got some dogwoods, I guess, nearby. And there's a bunch of trees. A little bit of campfire from the last person who was here this morning.